Right now, you are probably stressing about getting a perfect 8 hours of unbroken sleep. You lay in the dark on an expensive memory foam mattress, staring at a blank ceiling. You feel completely exhausted, but your mind refuses to simply shut down and rest. Your modern obsession with sleep trackers, blackout curtains, and absolute silence is a disease of the cage. Your ancestors survived the terrifying wilderness, not by sleeping deeply in a locked room, but by embracing the chaotic rhythm of the night. For 99% of human history, there were no private bedrooms, no locked doors, and no soft pillows. There was only the open, untamed wilderness, and yet our ancient ancestors did not suffer from chronic modern sleep disorders. They did not take synthetic melatonin. They woke up refreshed, highly alert, and physically capable. How did they achieve this absolute nocturnal peace in a world filled with massive predators? To solve this incredible mystery, we must dismantle the biggest biological myth in human history, the modern 8-hour sleep cycle. Welcome to Ancient Huddle. Today, we deconstruct how ancient humans actually slept before the invention of beds. We will look at revolutionary archaeological discoveries from Sibudu Cave in South Africa. We will explore the deeply embedded biological clock of biphasic sleep and stay until the very end, because we will reveal an emotional realization about prehistoric pack sleeping, a tribal huddle that completely reframes our modern, isolated relationship with the dark. For decades, the modern medical industry has painted a very specific picture of healthy human sleep. We are told that a normal, healthy human must shut their eyes at night and remain completely unconscious for 8 solid hours. This image has birthed a massive, highly profitable modern sleep industry. The premise is simple. Since we require deep rest to function, any waking in the middle of the night is a biological failure. We are told to block out all noise, banish all light, and sleep like an isolated rock. But anthropological science has recently dealt a massive blow to this theory. The perfect 8-hour sleep block is a completely modern, unnatural invention. And this brings us to our second nested loop, the ancient ash beds of South Africa. To understand how prehistoric humans actually slept, we cannot just look at modern European bedrooms. Modern beds are completely artificial environments. They are soft, permanent, and disconnected from the natural earth. To find the real truth, we had to look at something far older and far more deeply connected to survival. Ancient dirt floors. Archaeologists and paleobotanists, led by Professor Lynn Wadley at the University of the Witwatersrand, turned their focus to the deep layers of Sibudu Cave. Sibudu Cave is a massive rock shelter overlooking a river in South Africa. It acts as a perfect, undisturbed time capsule, trapping the daily habits of ancient humans and sealing them in dry dirt for tens of thousands of years. When Professor Wadley carefully excavated the ancient cave floor, she made a completely mind-blowing discovery. Trapped inside the compacted earth were perfectly preserved layers of ancient plant bedding dating back 77,000 years. Our ancestors did not just sleep on the cold, hard rock. In fact, their ancient beds were constructed with deep, deliberate biological engineering. They were actively gathering specific types of sedge grass and broad leaves. Even more incredibly, these ancient mattresses were built directly on top of thick layers of white, burned ash. This means ancient humans were not just piling up random leaves. They were systematically managing their sleeping environments, using fire to burn old, infested bedding to destroy dangerous ticks and mites. But the incredible discoveries did not stop there. When the researchers analyzed the specific leaves used in the ancient beds, they found something that shocked the scientific community. The ancient humans specifically selected leaves from the river wild quince tree. 77,000 years ago, long before the invention of chemical bug sprays, our ancestors knew that these specific leaves contained powerful natural insect repellents. They were weaving massive, comfortable, bug-proof mattresses. They understood the deep chemistry of the forest. The bed is not a modern invention of civilization. It is an ancient, Paleolithic survival technology. This leads us to our third nested loop, the biological engine of the midnight watch. Why did our ancestors go to such extreme lengths to engineer these massive communal beds? Gathering fresh leaves, burning old ash, and maintaining a clean sleeping area requires immense time and energy. If they could just sleep anywhere, why build such complex, structured platforms? The answer lies in the massive, terrifying reality of the ancient night. Apex predators. When the sun went down, early humans were incredibly vulnerable. They could not see in the dark. They were surrounded by massive cave lions, short-faced bears, and creeping hyenas. To survive the long, terrifying night, they could not afford to fall completely unconscious all at once. Evolutionary biologists studying modern hunter-gatherer tribes discovered something absolutely fascinating about natural human sleep. When humans live outside, without artificial light, they do not sleep in one solid 8-hour block. Instead, they naturally fall into a deeply segmented biphasic sleep pattern. Historical ecologist Roger Akirch argues that the natural human sleep cycle is broken into two distinct phases. Our ancestors would go to sleep shortly after the sun went down. They would sleep deeply for about 4 hours before naturally waking up in the dead of night. This midnight waking period was not a sign of insomnia. It was a crucial, highly evolved biological adaptation. During this quiet hour in the middle of the night, ancient humans were perfectly calm. They would add fresh wood to the dying campfire. They would softly speak to one another, check on their sleeping children, and listen carefully to the dark forest. They acted as temporary sentinels. Over hundreds of thousands of years, this staggered sleeping pattern kept the tribe completely safe. We did not evolve to sleep in total, vulnerable isolation. We evolved to take turns watching the dark. But our biological adaptation to the night goes even deeper, down to our very genetic chronotypes. Humans possess vast natural differences in when we feel tired. Some individuals are extreme early birds, waking up with the first light of dawn. Others are extreme night owls, staying alert long past midnight. While modern society punishes night owls for not fitting into a standard morning work schedule, ancient tribes desperately relied on them. By naturally staggering their sleep times, the tribe ensured that someone was always awake, always watching, and always tending the vital flames. Our DNA is literally written to share the burden of the night. We are cooperative sleepers, built to protect a diverse, deeply connected family. Now, let us bring these three loops together. Let us look at the grand realization of what this means for us. When you look back at the Pleistocene world, you do not see a brutal, terrifying night of solitary fear. You see a highly cooperative, incredibly warm tribal huddle. The act of sleeping was not a private, isolated biological function. It was the absolute anchor of prehistoric trust. The gathering of bodies upon a shared, insect-repelling ash bed provided a steady, reliable safety net that kept the entire family alive. And this brings us to the ultimate, humbling contrast of the ancient huddle. In the modern world, we lay alone in our silent bedrooms, staring at our phones, counting our lost hours of sleep, and worrying about our individual productivity. Sleep has become a source of immense stress, a solitary biological task, and a frustrating metric of self-worth. But 77,000 years ago, around the glowing embers of the campfire, sleep was the ultimate expression of communal love, because surviving the night required deep mutual reliance. The members of the tribe, the hunters, the gatherers, the elders, and the children, slept tightly packed together. They shared their vital body heat to survive the freezing cold. When a mother woke up in the dead of night, she did not panic about losing sleep. She did not stare at a glowing digital clock. She simply looked around the hearth. She saw the breathing bodies of the people she loved. She shared a quiet whisper with an elder tending the fire, ensuring that the dangerous shadows were kept at bay. Sleep was not a solitary metric of individual health. It was a shared biological anchor of absolute trust. We believe that our modern insomnia can be cured by finding the perfect, restrictive nighttime routine. We try to force our ancient bodies into unnatural, rigid blocks of unconsciousness, but we are missing the entire point of prehistoric rest. Our ancestors survived not because they slept perfectly for 8 unbroken hours, but because they possessed an incredibly fluid, adaptive sleep cycle that embraced the natural rhythms of the earth. And more importantly, they slept soundly because they slept together. Your body does not just crave a softer mattress or a darker room. It craves the huddle. It craves the shared warmth of the pack, the slow crackle of the midnight fire, and the deep, relaxing knowledge that you do not have to watch the dark alone. So the next time you wake up at 3 in the morning, do not panic. Feel a deep, quiet respect for the millions of years of cooperative survival that built your very brain. Ret adaptively. Rest communally. And remember that the ultimate survival secret of our ancestors, us, wasn't just how they fought during the day, but how they cared for each other in the dark. If this video has changed how you understand the deep time history of our ancestors, please subscribe to Ancient Huddle. We are dedicated to sharing highly researched, deeply informative stories about ancient human life, survival, and the evolutionary secrets trapped in our bones. Thank you for watching, and remember to cherish the huddle.